what's up? Hello, my name is Emma, and today is the start of the Fall into Fantasy Readathon. The Fall into Fantasy Readathon is just a week of reading fantasy books that is hosted by Penguin Teen and a few booktubers here on YouTube. Thank you to Penguin Teen for sponsoring this reading vlog so I can take you guys along with me all throughout this week as I try to complete some new fantasy books. I figured I would start off my reading vlog by sharing with you my TBR for the week. Now, this is my first readathon that I am attempting to complete during grad school. So I am setting my bar very, very low for this week. I really don't expect to get a lot of reading done because I have so much reading for school. So I'm just keeping it easy, not putting too much pressure on myself. I'm just gonna try and read as much as I can and more importantly enjoy the books that I'm reading. So the Fall into Fantasy Readathon comes along with 7 different reading challenges, and I've tried my very best to accommodate my books to the challenges in whatever way I can. For the challenge of read a new series as well as a fantasy novel with multiple points of views, I'm going to be reading Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis. Our main character's name is Nedra, and she wants to become an accomplished alchemist, but she's currently at a school on a scholarship where a bunch of really prestigious students go, so she feels out of place. She meets a boy named Gray who ends up helping her as they try to discover a cure for a plague that is sweeping their land, but things get a little bit more difficult and Nedra gets involved in some really serious practices like necromancy, and it might be up to Gray to help pull her out of the darkness. For a sequel, I'm going to be reading Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. Now, I am already mostly through Lord of Shadows, but I don't want to put this book on hold, and it also fulfills a challenge, so obviously I'm not going to claim to have read the entirety of Lord of Shadows during the Fall into Fantasy Readathon, but I'm going to try and finish it. I started today on page 370 of Lord of Shadows, which is pretty much in the middle of the book, and 370 pages is like literally a book in itself, so I'm going to get a ton of Lord of Shadows reading done this week. For an LGBTQ fantasy, I'm going to be reading The Land I Lost by Cassandra Clare, which is one of the Ghost of the Shadow Market novellas. This novella series from the Shadowhunter Chronicles follows Brother Zachariah as he travels throughout the different Shadowhunter markets throughout his time as a silent brother, and this particular story focuses on Magnus Bane and Alec Lightwood, who are 2 of our absolute favorite characters from this series, and as Alec is gay and Magnus is bisexual and the story really focuses on them, I think it totally fits for this challenge. For a diverse fantasy, I'm going to be reading Through Blood Through Fire, which is the following Ghost of the Shadow Market novella. As Brother Zachariah himself is Chinese, it totally fits for the challenge of read a diverse fantasy. I'm hoping to finish Ghost of the Shadow Market during this readathon, and I really think I can do that. To complete the challenge of BookTube recommends, I'm going to be picking up The List by Patricia Ford. The list follows a girl named Letta who lives in a world where people are restricted to only using 500 words to communicate with one another. I did start reading the list this morning. I'm listening to it on audio and I'm really enjoying it so far. This one counts for the BookTube Recommends challenge because it was recommended to me by Monica from She Might Be Monica. One day we were out book shopping in Barnes & Noble and we were in the middle grade section, and she said she heard really good things about this book. We were both really drawn to it. I don't think Monica has necessarily read it yet, but I still consider it a recommendation from her because I probably wouldn't have looked twice at it if she didn't point it out to me. So I'm excited to continue reading this one. So that is currently my TBR for the week of the Fall into Fantasy Readathon, and I'm going to be taking you guys along with me as I read these books in real time. This morning I have read 50 pages of Lord of Shadows and listened to 1 hour and 45 minutes of The List, which honestly is like really good for morning reading for me. I'm very impressed with how much I already got done today. Right now I'm heading out to go to the movies with my friend Natalia. We're going to watch Castle in the Sky, which I am so excited for, and then hopefully when I come home I can get some homework done and then get back to doing some reading later tonight. So it's much later today. I've only gotten a tiny bit of reading done. Oh god. So I essentially restarted listening to The List. I'm really loving the story. The writing is gorgeous and flowery, but I was just really struggling to stay engaged, and it was one of those situations where I felt like I was just forgetting everything as I listened to it. And I'm the type of person where like I don't let audiobooks defeat me easily. I will keep rewinding until like it clicks with me. So it's starting to solidify a little bit more in my head now that I am 50 minutes into it again. So I've lost a little bit of time, but it's fine because I'm about to start cleaning up my office a little bit while listening to the audiobook. I know it looks absolutely perfectly clean behind me, but everything that I'm sitting on currently is an absolute mess. So I'm gonna listen to the list and do some cleaning to just de-stress, clean my environment, and get ready for the week. I also did read a tiny bit more of Lord of Shadows. I think I read like maybe 2 chapters, and then I'm definitely just going to lay in bed tonight and read more of Lord of Shadows. I need a de-stress relaxation night, and I'd really like to get some extra reading done today because I don't know how this week is going to go. But yes, let's clear our minds, clear our spaces, and listen to some audiobooks. It's the next day and I've gotten like a little bit more reading done. While I was cleaning last night, I got to listen to the first hour and 45 minutes of The List by Patricia Ford again. So it's almost like I just didn't read anymore from yesterday morning after I decided to backtrack a little bit. But I am feeling a lot better going into the book a second time. So I'm trying really hard to make sure that I'm really focused and immersed when listening to the audiobook so I can make sure I'm not missing anything. But I've been doing better since I started listening this morning. I don't know how much I've listened to this morning, but it hasn't been a ton. And last night I had said I was just going to lay in bed and read last night after I finished cleaning, and I decided not to because I was really not feeling well, and when I don't feel well, I can't read at all. So I skipped reading last night, but I woke up this morning and I read more. I am currently on page 504, so I am doing really well in Lord of Shadows. I think when I read a little bit later today, I can definitely make a bigger dent in it, and I will hopefully finish it by tomorrow. So yeah, I don't have much to say about the list at the moment. I'm still in the very beginning of it and I'm trying to focus more. I will say, love the writing and atmosphere, and I really like the characters. I'm just trying to get a better grasp on the plot. And Lord of Shadows, you can definitely check out my Lord of Shadows reading vlog if you want to know my thoughts on it as it's happening. But it's Lord of Shadows. It's great. I'm loving it. Right now I have to go to school so I can get some classwork done before class actually starts. And then when I eat my dinner, I will be reading more of Lord of Shadows, and I'm going to try to listen to my audiobook on the way to and back from school. I say try because I really want to listen a little peep, but we'll see. So it's basically midnight and I can't read anymore tonight. I have a lot on my plate lately and I'm just not able to read as much as I wanted to this week. My week is like expedited times a million. I have double the schoolwork to do, double the normal chores and planning to do. My mind and body are just in overdrive and I just don't have enough time to do everything I want to that I normally do during the week. And that's okay. Like, other things have to take priority, but I'm still trying my best. I didn't get to listen to a lot of the list. I was just more in the mood for music, and sometimes I just need music over audiobooks. So I'm gonna try and do better tomorrow, or I guess technically today because it's 12:01. I'm gonna try and listen to the list in the shower and while I'm getting ready tomorrow, and that should definitely help me knock out a chunk of it. But it's a really enjoyable story. I think the writing is really beautiful, even though I'm still having a little bit of trouble connecting to it. I really love the world. I think the idea of having a society where you could only use 500 words is fascinating to me, like watching the careful choice of language when people are talking list in the book is really fascinating in my opinion. I'm really enjoying it. With Lord of Shadows, I haven't made a huge dent in it since I last updated you guys. I'm now on page 530, so I have like 170 pages to finish, which I definitely think I can do in at least like the next 2 days. But also earlier, I did start my third book of the Readathon, which is The Land I Lost by Cassandra Clare. I started reading it on ebook like in between my classes today because I figured that would be a really good time for me to focus on my ebook as opposed to trying to make a dent in the giant that is Lord of Shadows. So I think I'm like 10% in probably, but I really like it. I love seeing Alec and Magnus in the place where they are in their relationship. It is just so wholesome and beautiful, and I'm having a great time. Also, what's happening a lot with these novellas is I am more invested in the stories of characters who aren't Brother Zachariah. Like, it's Brother Zachariah's series. Like, you know, he possesses the main plot line, but as it goes through Shadowhunter history, there are many other characters that have their own significant plot lines throughout the story. And so like in this one, I'm mostly invested in Alec and Magnus. I don't even think we've really approached Brother Zachariah's plot line yet because like they're connected. We're starting with Alec's point of view, or with other ones, like for example Anna Lightwood. Loved her story. Celine Montclair, loved her story as well. So I definitely just love the other characters of the story, even though it's like somewhat being told through the lens of Brother Zachariah's history. But I'm loving it. I can't wait to read more. Hopefully I can read like a tiny bit more at work tomorrow, but we'll see. My big focus is finishing Lord of Shadows, though. That's like my got to do this week. And then hopefully I will be starting Give the Dark My Love in the next few days, which is my next physical book of the Readathon. But I'm signing off for tonight, and I will probably update you guys after work tomorrow because I have a full day of work tomorrow, and I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to vlog much at work. So today has not gone as planned. I woke up this morning incredibly sick to the point where I had to call out of work, and I just laid in bed and napped and rested all day because I really wasn't feeling well. I listened to like a tiny bit of the list in the morning while I was trying to get ready for work. I liked what I listened to, but I definitely think that I need to listen to the list for like at least like an hour at a time to really get more solidified into the story. I really like the point where we're at. I feel like the little bit I did listen to was very engaging and it contributed a lot to the story. Like the plot really forwarded in what I've listened to today. But I always prefer listening to audiobooks for longer periods of time. So I'm not sure if I will get to any audiobook listening tonight, but hopefully tomorrow I can listen to it for a longer period of time. On the bright side, I am killing it with Lord of Shadows. I have like less than 90 pages left. I'm so close to finishing and I'm so excited. I definitely could have finished it already if I started reading earlier today. But when I get sick, I can't read. I am one of the unlucky ones where you think most people are like, oh yes, home all day. I can just lay in bed even if I don't feel good. No, I don't want to do anything when I don't feel good. But I have made some more progress on Lord of Shadows, and I am going to be reading more of it tonight. I am like intent on finishing it tonight because I'm so close and I really, really want to get it done. My mom brought me home an ice, which I have been dying for. I don't know why I was craving an ice so badly, but now that I'm feeling a little bit better, this is just really hitting the spot. So I'm gonna eat my Italian ice and read more of Lord of Shadows. Then I have my Lady Midnight live show, and I'm getting some progress. I'm making some progress with this readathon. So I finished Lord of Shadows. I finished my first book of the Fall into Fantasy Readathon, and I'm so excited about it. I love Lord of Shadows. Like, are you kidding me? Did anyone expect anything different? I loved it. Yes, so I finished Lord of Shadows and it was great. I actually got like so much reading done today. You know, maybe it like did turn into like a productive sick day for me because I read like a huge chunk of Lord of Shadows and I enjoyed every second of it. So tomorrow I will be starting Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis, which I am really, really excited for. It's very different from a lot of what I've been reading lately, so I'm intrigued to give it a try. so I didn't vlog at all yesterday because I'm still sick. I also have a zit on my chin. Let's not talk about it. As an update, I didn't read a ton yesterday. I got like no listening of the list done. I listened to like that much of it, but I did start Give the Dark My Love by Beth Rivas, and I'm really liking it so far. I'm on page 58, and last night when I was laying in bed reading, I was just like really invigorated to keep going, and it was an awesome feeling. High fantasy can be tough for me, which if you are a frequent watcher on my channel, you would know. It's like very hard for me to commit to reading like a new high fantasy novel because it's just not my genre, but I'm really interested in this one. It's very political, which I like. Like I really like fantasy novels that have a lot of politics. With the political nature of this book comes like a little bit of an excess of exposition in my opinion. There's just like a lot of like spoon feeding information because it has to all be developed before the book starts. So 58 pages in is where I'm at now. There's definitely been like a lot of information that's just being told to me, so I'm hoping that like it changes as the story goes on and we like actually get to meet the politicians they're talking about and get a better understanding of the tensions. I do really like the main character, Nedra. I love how determined she is and stubborn. I love reading books about women interested in science and women who want to help people, and I can see that there's like a lot of Nedra to like. I'm excited to get to know her more. I'm not totally sold on Gregory, or Gray as he's called in the book. He's just like a little like bland at the moment. So although like this book is like both of their perspectives, so he's not like just a love interest, he's also like a main protagonist narrator, so I am excited to get to know him more. But I do really like their dynamic at the start of the story. Like I wouldn't say it's insta love, but they definitely have like an expedited connection, I feel. But I like them. Like it's nice to see two characters who meet and are like clearly going to fall in love, but they're just like really nice and polite to each other in the beginning, because I'm so used to YA where the main characters just fight all the time. So it's really nice to see two characters that are just like think the other person's cute and enjoy spending time with them and wants to get to know them. So I'm really liking it so far. It's surprising me with how much I'm enjoying it, and I will hopefully get a little bit more reading done today. So I've gotten just a little bit more reading done today. I just got back from Thanksgiving dinner, which I wasn't gonna vlog because that would be awkward. But earlier today, I did read more of The Land I Lost, and I am loving it. I think I'm about halfway through now, so I think I will maybe treat myself to finishing that novella before I go to bed tonight, hopefully. But yeah, The Land I Lost is just so good. I'm loving the blend of Alex's storyline and Brother Zachariah's storyline and how they mesh together. I think it's balanced really well. I really love how we get to know little Raphael more in this story, not like Raphael Santiago, but a different Raphael. We get to know his personality more in The Land I Lost, and I love him so much. What we've seen of Raphael so far in The Dark Artifices, we don't really get to know him, but it's so funny watching him and Alec interact when they're like first meeting. I love their dynamic, and I just cannot wait to read more about them. I'm also loving what I assume to be inferences for the Red Scrolls of Magic, which is book 1 in the Eldest Curses series, which if you don't know follows Alec and Magnus, because there are just some references to Alec around the time when the first book is taking place, so I'm really interested to make some connections once that comes out this March. I love Lily. Lily is so funny, and I'm really excited to continue on with this novella. I think there is a very strong individual plot and also this subplot that's going on, so I'm greatly preferring this to a lot of the other Shadow Market novellas that I've read. I have also listened to a decent amount of The List by Patricia Ford today. I think I'm about 4.5 hours of the way through. I have 3 hours and 51 minutes to go, so I'm more than halfway done, which is really exciting. All my issues of not being engaged and not being able to follow the story are completely gone. I'm really focused now, and I love the direction the story is going in. Hi. Hello. You can't even see me. So yeah, I really like The List so far. I didn't realize that a lot of it is based in global warming, which I find really interesting. It basically takes place after like global warming has happened, and Ark is like the result of people. Are you like nodding, pretending to know what I'm talking about? Okay. I really like the... You are distracting me. I find it to be a very sophisticated middle grade novel. Not that middle grade doesn't normally have the potential to be sophisticated, but compared to a lot of the other middle grade that I've read, it's like very mature and definitely a middle grade novel that people of like all ages could enjoy. It doesn't feel very young. It almost has a YA feel to it while still retaining like the core parts that make it middle grade. I really like the main character, Letta. She actually reminds me a lot of Nedra from Give the Dark My Love, where she's also like very passionate and determined. She's about to embark on like a really dangerous mission at this point in the story, so I'm excited to see more. So tomorrow, hopefully, if I get up early enough, I will be able to listen to more of the list while I'm getting ready, and I definitely think I can finish it by the end of the week. I'm not sure if I will get to Ash Princess and finish Ash Princess on audio, but I definitely think I can finish the list at the end of the week, and I'm really happy I picked it up. So now I have to do homework and write a paper, and Doug's gonna sit here and play video games, and then hopefully later I will get more reading done. I hear my tea going off. No, I have to go. So I definitely should have and could have updated you guys last night, but I'm lazy. Last night I was hosting some sprints on Twitter, which was really nice because not only did I enjoy interacting with you guys and talking about what we're currently reading and just reading together at the same time, but I also got a chunk of reading done. I was planning on reading Give the Dark My Love, but I was so close to finishing The Land I Lost that I was like, I have to keep reading. I want to finish this tonight, and I did. I loved The Land I Lost. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was really, really enchanting. I love Raphael so much. Oh my god, what a sassy little baby. He's just the sweetest thing, and I want so many more stories about him. I will say I definitely was more interested in the scenes between like Alec, Lily, and Raphael. For some reason, I just like haven't been caught by all the Jessa or Wessa or Heron Greystairs moments in these novellas for some reason. I definitely had the opportunity to read more of Give the Dark My Love last night, but like I decided to watch YouTube for 2 hours and then I went to bed. It happens. I don't like that it happens. I especially don't like that it happens during readathons, but nonetheless, it is a new day and I'm going to be reading more of Give the Dark My Love. I picked up some gyoza and rice for lunch today, and I'm really excited to eat it because I finally have an appetite after being sick for like 4 days at this point. And I'm gonna make some more progress on Give the Dark My Love. So since I last vlogged, I did make some progress on Give the Dark My Love. I am currently on page 131, and I've developed this really great system which I think is not only helping motivate me to do my homework but also helping me get reading done, where every like article I read, or for instance I'm reading my textbook now, so like for every like 10 pages of the chapter I'm going to read 2 chapters of the book, because the book chapters are only like 7 pages, 14 pages. I can do that in like 7 minutes. Really, I read really fast. So I've been going back and forth, and it's been helping me make progress on my book and make progress on my homework and paper. So like I'm loving this system, and I think I'm gonna use it for tomorrow too. So I'm really enjoying Give the Dark My Love. One thing I particularly am struck by is the discussion of classism in this book, as the main character Nedra comes from an impoverished farming village, and she's going to this super elitist school. So she faces a lot of scrutiny from her peers about where she comes from, what that implies about her, and especially because the plague that is like a central antagonist of the story is very prominent in the lower socioeconomic status communities, and so she has to deal with a lot of stigma, and I think it's just addressed really well throughout the story. There's a great scene about a teacher changing their preferences, about a student challenging the beliefs that they've grown up with, and so I just really liked the exploration of that throughout the story. As for the characters, like I said, I really like Nedra. I like how she just like does not take any negativity from other people. She doesn't care about their judgment. She like knows why she's at the school. She knows her purpose, and she's gonna do everything in her power to make that happen, and I find that really inspiring and wonderful. I'm really not sold on Gray at the moment. I feel like I just haven't gotten a good grasp of his personality yet. He's polite, he's nice, but there isn't anything about him that's like really standing out to me yet. So I'm hopeful that like as the story develops and maybe as the romance develops, by getting to know him a little bit better, I'll like him more. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like it's sort of restoring my faith in high fantasy. Definitely over the last few months, and I would probably even say the last year, I've like really tone down the amount of high fantasy I read. It takes a lot for me to be interested enough to try a new one, especially if it's like not a book or series or author that I really love. And Give the Dark My Love is like helping me realize that like I don't need all of those conditions in order to enjoy a high fantasy novel. I just need a good book. So I'm really happy with where I'm at with Give the Dark My Love, and I'm excited to read more. The main reason I wanted to film a quick little clip here is because I'm actually reading my counseling textbook. So don't think that I'm just like sitting on my butt all week and not getting a lot of reading done. I'm reading, it's just not fantasy. But I'm reading about narrative therapy, and there's this one line where it's talking about how the founder of narrative therapy was really interested in a certain French philosopher, and the quote they included from the philosopher is like so perfect for the whole theme of the list, and I really wanted to share it. So the French philosopher is Michel Foucault, who spoke of how language is subtly created and used by the privileged to support their understanding of what is the truth, and that such truth maintains the roles of the privileged and often results in the oppression of others. And I'm like, dang, that is exactly what the list is all about. And I just thought that was really cool and I wanted to share it. Back to reading my textbook, and then hopefully I can get like another 2 chapters of Give the Dark My Love done before I go home for the day, and then have to just go back to doing exactly what I'm doing right now. It is Black Friday, and after work today I did a little bit of Black Friday shopping. I went to Barnes & Noble to do some schoolwork and try and knock out some of the articles that I had to read, and then decided to go to the mall. So I settled on this shimmery patterned kind of sheer-ish long sleeve dress from Charlotte Russe. What I like most about it is the lines are outlined in this silver and blue glitter. So I don't know if you can see it in here, but in the light it glints blue, which I really like. Only current problem is it sheds everywhere. Like I am covered in glitter just from showing you that. Also at Charlotte Russe I got this green sweater that has balloon sleeves because I'm obsessed with buying sweaters, and I really like it. It's super comfy, it fits really nicely, and I'm super excited to wear it. I have been looking everywhere for a pair of high-waisted, comfortable, nice feeling fake leather leggings, and I finally found a pair. They're really nice. They have this fleece inner lining, so they're super warm too, and they fit really great, so I'm so excited to wear these. The shirt and the sweater were $35, the pants were $18, and then for $8 I got this cute shirt from Tilly's. This is not a winter shirt. It's basically a crop top. It like just hits the top of my waistband, and it is long sleeve, but it's very lightweight. The main reason I wanted it is because I love the color combination. For some strange reason, it really reminds me of like my favorite outfit I used to dress up my Polly Pockets in. It had like this dark blue, purpley, and teal color scheme, and so I looked at it. It was $8 and I was like, I have to get it. The one dumb moment of today is I was standing on these Black Friday shopping lines, and I was like, oh, you know, I should pull out my phone and start my other novella, which is Through Blood Through Fire. Like, that's the perfect time to get ebook reading done, is when you're online places. But my idiotic self forgot to buy Through Blood Through Fire, and for some reason you can't buy the Shadowhunter novellas on Amazon, like on your phone. For some reason it doesn't let you do it on mobile, or at least I've tried in the past and it doesn't let me. So I definitely could have gotten some extra reading done today, and I just couldn't because I forgot to provide myself with a copy of the book. It is midnight and I am tired. This is how every night should end. Getting some reading done and like getting to a nice sleepy point where I know I'm going to fall asleep soon, and I'm so excited to go to bed. I am currently on page 174, so I am like just about halfway done. It is technically the last day of the readathon, and I have this as well as the list and Through Blood Through Fire to finish like my main TBR. I don't know about Through Blood Through Fire. I really want to read it. Like, I know it's going to be the next book I read anyways, but I think I'm more focused on finishing Give the Dark My Love first, and if I happen to read a lot tomorrow, I can start Through Blood Through Fire, and that would be cool. So yeah, I don't have any new thoughts. What I will say is that I can tell that this book is about to get very, very dark. I was reading some reviews earlier today, and a lot of people were talking about just like how gruesome and gritty the book is going to get, and I personally love books like that, so I'm really excited. Things just started happening that are a little dark, and I can tell that maybe we're gonna delve in some moral ambiguity territory in a bit with Nedra, so I'm really, really excited for it. I'm enjoying my time reading this new high fantasy novel that I might not have normally picked up, and so it's been really cool to be reading this and enjoying it, and I'm excited to see more. So it's the next day. I haven't gotten a ton of reading done. I feel like that's how I literally start every single clip for this vlog. I did listen to a tiny bit more of the list. I didn't get to listen while I was getting ready this morning because I'm still not feeling well, and the mornings are always the hardest for me, and I just like lay in bed until I have to crawl out and go to work. I am feeling better now though, but I didn't listen to the list this morning, so I ended up listening to a little bit more of it at work today because my planner basically like fell apart, and so I had to re-put all of the paper through the wire spiral binding, and I was like, this is a great time to listen to my audiobook, and it was. So I'm about 5 hours in, and I still have probably like 3 hours left, but I am getting my nails done today, and it takes me forever to get my nails done, so I'm actually really confident that I can get a big chunk of listening done, and I might even be able to finish it. Right now I'm eating lunch. I picked up Chinese food again because I love the place next door, so I got a sweet potato roll, I got some chicken gyoza, some rice, and I am reading Through Blood Through Fire on my phone. You know, I feel like I always underestimate how convenient it is to read an ebook on your phone when you're eating, because you don't have to touch the book and flip all the pages while you're eating, so it's really, really convenient, and that's how I'm going to finish my lunch today. So I just finished Through Blood Through Fire, and I really loved it. I think I actually said earlier in this vlog how like I wasn't feeling a lot of the novellas that focused mostly on Jem and Tessa, but like Cassie Clare proved me wrong. This story was really compelling. It was another one that focused on like a present storyline and a past storyline, as we have a sort of flashback that provided a lot of insight to a different character that we've been getting to know through these novellas, and I really, really enjoyed it. It was a very emotional novella too. There were just like a lot of difficult scenes to get through, and it made for just a really well-rounded story. Now that I've finished all 8 of the Ghost of the Shadow Market novellas, though I do believe there is one more that's being published after Queen of Air and Darkness, I would say I'm probably gonna give it like a 4/4.5 star rating overall. I would say altogether as a novella bind-up, it's probably my lowest rated out of the Bane Chronicles and Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, but that being said, I think that some of the Ghost of the Shadow Market novellas, like certain ones, are the best that Cassie Clare has ever written, and they're super crucial to the Shadowhunter Chronicles. So like there's positives and negatives to everything. Right now I need to do more schoolwork, what a surprise, but I'm gonna go back and forth a little bit between reading Give the Dark My Love as well. So it is the day after the Fall into Fantasy Readathon, and the Readathon has ended, and I have not finished my TBR. So this is a first for me. In like 5 years of doing readathons on BookTube, I have always finished my TBR up until this point. I am a little over 200 pages into Give the Dark My Love, so I have 150 pages left, and I have a little under 3 hours left of The List by Patricia Ford. So I'm definitely a little bummed that I did not get to complete my entire TBR before the end of the week, but I'm not gonna apologize for it. I'm a grad student now, and school is my #1 priority. It has to come before everything else in my life, so I really had to put writing my paper and reading my sources for my paper over pleasure reading this week. So in the Fall into Fantasy Readathon, I finished half of Lord of Shadows, I read 2 novellas, and I finished the majority of both Give the Dark My Love and The List, and I will be finishing them. I'm going to insert a clip after this to discuss my final thoughts on those two books. So yeah, maybe use this just as a little reminder. It's okay if you don't finish your TBRs. Life gets in the way. Things are more important than reading sometimes, and that's just the way it is, and there's no shame in that. There is nothing negative about it. It's just a thing that happened this week, and that's cool. So I am promptly going to go to bed because it is very, very late, and I should 100% be asleep already. But that's technically it for the Fall into Fantasy Readathon, so I will switch over to probably who knows how many days later when I've finished both the list and Give the Dark My Love, so I can give you my final thoughts. So it has been a very tumultuous week. I don't want to get into it, but I'm only just getting back to work and just starting to feel better and just getting around to a little bit more reading so I can finally update this blog again. In a very surprising update, I have decided to DNF the List by Patricia Ford. It's not just shocking for you watching, it's shocking for me too, because I did not plan on DNFing this book. I have been thinking long and hard about this book over the last week, and I feel it is just the best decision for myself to put down the audio format. What I have retained of this book and what I have read of it, I really, really liked it. It explores a lot of themes I really enjoyed, like the way it approaches language and art and environmentalism. It's all stunning, and I really like the writing style, and I like the main character, and it was just that the audio version did not work for me. Therefore, I'm not totally giving up on this book, and I've decided that at the first opportunity for me to pick up any book I want to read, I am going to be rereading it and starting from the beginning in the physical format. I just really believe in this book, and I think I have so much potential to get so much more out of it. So I think the best thing for me to do, number one, as a reader, as someone who likes enjoying stories, and also as a reviewer, as someone who likes to give the best possible reviews that I can, I'm going to be postponing finishing this book for now and restarting it at a later date that is hopefully very, very soon. Definitely an unexpected update, but on the plus side, I am loving Give the Dark My Love. I can't actually check what page I'm on because I'm using it to hold up my camera at the moment, but I'm really close to being done. I probably have less than 100 pages left, so I will be finishing it soon, but luckily I'm like really, really liking Give the Dark My Love, and I can't wait to share my final thoughts with you guys. I finally got the chance to film my final clip for the Fall into Fantasy Readathon and share my final thoughts on Give the Dark My Love. I've said over and over and over again, I really liked the main character, Nedra. I think she's very unique, and I appreciate her stubbornness and her determination, and her character development is especially interesting. I loved the plot line of the plague. Like, for some reason, it really, really reminded me of RuneScape, as embarrassing as that is to say. If you were like an OG RuneScape player like myself, you would know that there was this members quest called Plague City, and as this book takes place, where there is a plague in this really poor, impoverished area, like, it just really, really reminded me of RuneScape, and like, I still love RuneScape to this day, even though I haven't played in years, so like, very, very satisfying. And I really liked the way necromancy was explored in this book. I feel like whenever it comes to fantasy, necromancy is always as like this deep, dark, evil thing that only the villains touch, but in this book, it's the main character's path, and it was just really interesting. For things I didn't like, I wasn't a big fan of Gray. Like, throughout the entire story, I was just really underwhelmed by him. There was just nothing that made him stand out. He was like nice, like that was it. I wanted more substance from his character, and another thing I was a little frustrated with the book was that the multiple perspectives were so unbalanced. This book is literally like 90% Nedra's perspective and 10% Gray's, and it's just a personal pet peeve of mine when we have two perspectives and they are completely not balanced. I just start to lose sight of why that other protagonist's perspective is important. And it's interesting because the book started off very, very equal. It was like every chapter was alternating between the two of them, and I was really pleased by it in the beginning. But by the midway point, Nedra's story becomes so much more important that Gray like wasn't even mentioned. And so I actually think I would have preferred this story to have just been Nedra's perspective. And the only other thing I'd say is that like I just wanted more from every aspect of the story. I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way. way. Like, it did feel a little lacking at points, but it was all interesting enough that like I wanted more expansion on how alchemy works, how necromancy works, how it is related to the plague, and like the character relationships. I feel like I just like would have wanted more of everything because I really enjoyed what I read of it and what I got of it. So yeah, Fall into Fantasy Readathon, not exactly my most successful readathon ever, but it was still a lot of fun. I definitely did not read as much as I would have liked to, but I read a lot of Shadowhunters, which really pleased me. I read Give the Dark My Love, which I really enjoyed, and unfortunately I didn't love my experience of the list, but I do know that it's a story I am 100% planning on revisiting. If you participated in the Fall into Fantasy Readathon, I would love to hear your thoughts, but otherwise I'm really interested if any of you guys have read some really great fantasy novels lately, because now I am definitely in a fantasy mood after all of these amazing fantasy books that I just read, and I would love to know what to pick up next. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon for a new video. Bye!